Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm.
All right, hey everybody, this is Austin. This is Candid Capture Podcast. I want to thank Mike's Wholesale Flooring for sponsoring the podcast. And today we're with Kenny Collins and David McCoy. So I'm gonna get to Kenny. Kenny, how did you get into racing? The whole racing atmosphere.
Oh, my dad raced, and his dad owned cars, so that's how he got to racing. I was born in 91, and he was racing asphalt at the time at Livonia, and they closed, and then we started going around McCoy and racing in Westminster. And then about, it was like 98, my dad got me a go-kart for Christmas in 97, and we started racing go-karts next year. Never have quit.
That's a good thing. And David, how'd you get into racing?
My whole family done it. My grandpa, my dad, my mom, brother. So I wasn't really interested in it, to be honest with you. I started in a Ford Pinto, and when did you say you were born?
91.
Yeah, it was before. It was around 93, I think. So
I didn't know you was that old.
yeah, yeah, I wiped it out the first night and we put it back together, and the rest is history.
I hear you. So, what's been one of your favorite memories since you started racing? They've probably a long bit to go through. But.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've been doing it 30 years, so racing's such a roller coaster. I can't think of one thing that really sticks out to me. You know, I've been fortunate enough to win super races, and I guess one of the ones would be winning that $10,000 604 when it was really hard to win that weekly deal. I think we ended up winning about 2 points with Paul Byram and those guys. We had tried, and we'd get to mid-season, and they'd say, "You're leading those things," and then the people from Virginia and stuff started racing later. So then they'd always catch you and you'd lose by 20 points. But that year, we weren't even trying and ended up winning it by 2 points. And that was a pretty neat deal.
That's awesome.
I've had a lot of great memories with this stuff.
What about you, Kenny?
It's hard to say, but probably one of my favorite races I ever won or anything was we won Alabama State race, Southern All-Star race at East Alabama last year. And I think I've been going in there for 2005 was the first year I went. So 17 years trying to win a race, run second down there in all kind of different classes about 6, 7 times. And finally was able to pull it off. Had led races and had things happen. Just finally to win that, and it'd be a Southern All-Star race too. First one of them I'd won. That was pretty cool. I don't know, as far as stuff other than winning races, mostly I had a lot of great memories doing it with my family. When I was a kid, my dad and my uncle raced, and we always parked together and raced together all the time. And just getting to do it with my dad and my mom has always been a blast. My grandparents.
Oh, yeah. Now, since y'all started with Copeland Farms, what's been the hardest thing, now that y'all travel, what's been the hardest thing about racing since you've joined them? Is it competition or travel, whatever it may be?
The competition is definitely tough because everybody's got good stuff, and you don't just an example. Friday night we went I-75, and I went a 14.71, I think, and the pole was a 50 something, and I was 9th in my group. So then that gets you moored back, and 0.2 of a second, blink of an eye. So you don't even really. It's so close that it's hard to determine where you needed more speed. And then you start off behind, then it's hard to pass a lot of times. Our cars are so aero dependent. And then, I started 4th in my heat, run 5th. Then you start 20th. And it's uphill from there.
Oh, yeah.
So, just the competition, really.
What about you, David?
Yeah. This deal, Super would, I'm not going to say it was easier when I ran it back in the early 2000s and stuff, but like Kenny said, it's so close. You look at the times and you're a 10th and a half moves you from 15th to 4th. A lot of times.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just so there, and I've just really leaned on him. Like 80% of these tracks I've never seen that we roll into them. Like I'm passing the gates and backing up in the road at 4:00 in the morning because we passed them. So, which he hadn't been to that one either. But so yeah, I mean, it's just a learning curve, and I'm leaning on him a lot and just trying to get a feel that I like. But I mean, they asked me the other night when they interviewed me, like, I'm not down. I mean, I know that he can do it, and I feel like I can still do it. And so, just getting the pieces of the puzzle. I mean, I feel like we've grown a lot since Speed Weeks, and we made the first show there. Both of us did. He raced his way in, and I timed my way in at East Bay. That was just awesome. Oh, it's just a roller coaster of. It's just making sure that the highs don't get too high and the lows don't get too low, because it will beat you down.
And y'all, I mean, since y'all started, y'all done good, I feel like, because this is...
Yeah, we've had pretty much success.
Oh, yeah, y'all have. So what's been your favorite track that you raced at so far since you got to go around a little bit more?
The home tracks.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I got to say, like, my best finish come at Livonia, and just once you get up in Tennessee, and some of those guys don't like it down here, but like, to me, these tracks are gripped up and maybe too hammered down. I love my local tracks, and I'll support my local tracks. And I got a lot of learning to do in that slick condition. We were talking before we started here. Like, I run that whole feature at probably quarter throttle. So, I'm learning how to slow down, and like, I'm over they've told me more this year than I've ever been told in my career, that I'm overdriving entry, and then it just binds you up, and you can't leave the corner if you slide getting in. So just learning. Like, I'm a sponge. I'm asking him questions. He'd be up under the car, and I'll be like, "Are you counting clicks?" And then I'm just asking questions. Just trying to absorb everything that I can, but I know that we can do it. I know that we both can do it. It's just a matter of, putting everything together. We've had speed. Both of us have had speed. I don't feel like we've put an entire night together.
Yeah.
We've either been fast starting out and slowed down, or vice versa. And we've got a great support system. So, and, like I said, Kenny's been awesome to work with and like guide me in the right direction, because it's changed a lot in 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's kind of a culture shock when you race, like, same way for me 7 or 8 years ago when I started really traveling. Like, when you race at 4 or 5 racetracks all the time, you kind of know what to expect everywhere you unload.
Right.
And then, like, every different little region, the racing's just different. You go like North Georgia and up into Tennessee, them guys most time expect the racetrack to slow down by the hot laps. Well, our racetracks don't do that. So you ain't done that years and years. Like he said, everybody's telling him more this year ever than before that you got to slow down. It took me a long time to grasp that concept too, because I had we got all this motor, we got to use it. We're restricted to more times than not. And in some places you go, you don't. You go more south, and like East Bay was gas on every night, but it would still get like ice slick at times, which is different from what we race on. And some places are like greasy, and then others. And then some places you go, like we went to that buckshot place. Neither one of us ever seen it. We both were really good.
Yeah.
And it was
that was my favorite one that I've been to, was buckshot. Honestly, that I hadn't been.
It was more like something we'd race on around here.
Right.
I thought that makes it easier.
Oh, yeah.
Transition.
So, what has been, since y'all been racing this season, how you feeling so far about it, and kind of what are you looking forward to the rest of the season, like races or just anything in general? The rest of the season, what are y'all looking forward to?
I'm really excited to do the Southern Nationals again. I went to third on that deal last year, and we didn't win a race, but we finished second at the goal and had some top fives and some good runs. And, our car was bent while we was doing all that too, and we didn't know it, so we was kind of fighting that. I think going back and doing it again, it's all pretty much the same racetracks again. And I've been to most all of them several times. So, and I got notes I can help David when we go them places. And he's been to a lot of them too. So that's always a fun deal. I like going and racing for 2 weeks like that. You're in the seat every day.
Oh, yeah.
So mentally you're sharp, constantly you're just racing.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes you better.
Yeah. Weather's kind of hindered us this year. We got rained out a bunch of places, which I'm sure it's been the same around here. I try to keep up with all the drivers like Chris and everybody that has been a huge part of it. And I talk to James a lot still. But weather's hindered us a lot. I think we got rained out of 6 of them?
Yeah, we were supposed to have done like 14 races with that spring national deal. I think we only did 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, like he said, we got good help at the shop, and Brett gives us everything that we need. I'm really looking forward to it, like with a notebook. So I know what I done wrong. If I go back and do it again, it's
Right.
It'll be on me. So I'm looking forward to it, and we're leaving for Eldora, which Kenny's having a baby. Congratulations! Man.
Yeah.
Well, he's
About 9 o'clock tonight.
I've been due for a while. Man.
They got one due, and so he's not going to get a beat with me. But we're going to Eldora. We're leaving next week, and so I'll probably be a fish out of water up there. But
Don't lift.
Yeah, don't lift. I'm not gonna. I promise you right now. I'm looking at this camera, whichever camera. I'm not holding it wide open like he did right now. I can tell you that now. So,
No, it ain't that.
I know. I talked to Brian last week. I was telling him I don't have y'all on the podcast. And he's like, he mentioned something that I told Kenny. I mentioned it to him. He said y'all used to have a friendly little rivalry back in the day. That's fine. That one probably died, but we got.
I wouldn't. Me personally, I wouldn't say that. But now I know whenever he started super racing, obviously, and then you seen him come home. He was a threat, and that's because you learn. Like I said, if you absorb anything, you learn so much out there. So he could come in and just really kick our ass, because he had been out there getting his ass kicked. And
Agree with that.
no offense, but you know what I'm saying. So you learn so much, and when you get somewhere that you're comfortable, I feel like a prime example is us at Livonia. We go to one of our home tracks, and we both lock in the top 5. I'm out of provisional, so I had to make Duck River. I had to race my way in, and that's what I told him. And fortunately, we did. And he gave me a good car, and like I said, Kaysen and Hayden and Dwayne, they bust their butts. We pulled into Duck River. It was daylight, and I think we got 3 hours of sleep. And then you're just unloading the car. Well, which we've been maintaining our cars of the night. So before we leave a racetrack, they're pretty much prepared for the next race. So, and Kenny and I split the truck driving part, which that's been awesome, riding up and down the road. But yeah, looking forward to it. And like I said, I graded myself as a C, and I'll stay there. I feel like I got more in me. I feel like Kenny's got more in him. He's definitely above a C. He's been really fast. He looked really good at North Georgia. And like I said, just having the stuff, if we need it, we've got it.
Oh, yeah.
Or Coleman supply, if we say we need this, he makes it happen.
Oh,
So, this stuff's really expensive. So to have a fully funded team,
good night.
yeah, which I've had that for a while, but like I said, different level. And so I'm just very appreciative for that. But as far as friendly rivalry, we're friends. He raced me hard. I raced him hard.
Well,
He told me a little story.
Well, the only time I
drove
ever
9 hours away.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I don't know if I'd really call it a rivalry. We always been real tight for a long time. I don't know how far that dates back, but pretty much from the time David was, when I first kind of was coming into my own racing around here and getting where I could win races and be competitive, David was kind of coming back from running some super stuff. And he was running limited races, and he was obviously one of the guys you had to beat for 2 or 3 years there. It was him and Parker Herring won every race I went to, I felt like. And I might win one every now and then, but we never have really had no problems that I know of as far as we never had an incident where we left the racetrack, didn't talk for a few days kind of thing. You know, obviously, I probably started on the front row with you more than anybody I've ever raced with in my life, and you probably beat me more than I have you for sure, but I can't never think of it maybe once or twice when we ever touched or had anything go wrong. And like that deal down there at Milton, that I was talking about, it's basically like this. He was leading the race, and I had started fourth, and I'd got to second. We were lapping cars, and there was a lapper in his way. I got to him, and I'm racing the hell out of him in the bottom, and this Joseph Joyner passes both of us on the outside. Like, I didn't even know. We run like 2 laps after that. Where the hell does 10 car come from? We lapping him. And I said, shit, he passed us. And then, so the caution comes out. Well, now we're on the like first double file road together, and I'm on the bottom, which wasn't really the preferred lane. So I was really trying to send it to clear him. I did it the first time when the caution come out. And the second time, I didn't really get in there as far. He like tagged me right here and it spun me out. But before the night was over, we was laughing about it. You know?
Yeah.
It's always been that way.
And that's what I'm saying. Like he said, we come up on lap cars, and I was probably too conservative. And we come off 4 there, and it was Joseph Joyner, and I'm like, damn, this lap car is racing me this hard to try to, and I was like, hold on, I didn't pass that car. So anyway, I think I got to choose, and I chose the outside. So Kenny kind of doored me at the flag stand not doored me. Not doored me.
He arced it out. So
yeah, he arced it out so he could get in the corner. Yeah, I'll give him that. So I completely kind of misjudged. I'm turning left, and he slid up more than, because a lot of it is you just go off. It's not like I'm like, I didn't get pissed and like I'm going to turn him, because I didn't want to do that. Like, if I couldn't win it, of course I want my buddy to win it. But I screwed his night up, and I think we ended up finishing 3rd anyway. And then we go, like I said, he was out of the car, and he's like, who spun me? And we're parked side by side. Yeah. We're 9 hours away. We're parked side by side. I just walked up there and I said, hey, dude, that was me.
Well, the best part, I knew for you, the best part, that was the best part of it, because I went to the tail, and I still had no idea who spun me out. Like, the whole rest of the ride, I'm mad. And I come in and pull up to the truck, and my mom comes up to the window, and Paul Byron is standing right at the right front corner of my car. I looked at my mom, and I'm like, who spun me out like that? And she didn't want to tell me it was him. Buddies, whatever. So she wouldn't ever say that. I looked at Paul, and he's like, he didn't want to say nothing. And there was a guy there. His name's Rusty. He's buddies with Dwayne, but I had never met him. This is the first time I'd ever seen this guy. And he just lit into Paul. It was a damn 187 car. And I'm like, Paul, he's like looking off. It was funny. Yeah, it was really. I mean, him, like I said, when he come in, he comes straight over here and we talk about it. That was it. But that's the kind of stuff's going to happen. But in retrospect to that, some people you line up beside, I ain't going to say no names, but I had to start with one at North Georgia in the heat race that night. You just know you're going to get hit or run out of room or something. And then, I can't say that about David, because we've raced each other countless times over the years and might have made contact 2 or 3 times ever, and it never was nothing that made either one of us stop except that one time.
And I feel like that. Kenny was winning at Tacoma one night, and I just clobbered him down the back straight away. And I'm like, I felt so bad. Like, in my interview, you could go back and find the interview. I'm like, man, I don't really feel good about this. Like, I hope Kenny tells me he broke.
He did.
And he did break.
I cut the switch off. I tried to put a round of brakes in it, and I cut the motor off. It grew. Wow!
He did. My car was brand new, and I just went up in the air and landed. And I'm like,
I flipped the switch on, and my car cranked back up. Like, you moron! I come rolling in the pits, and all my crowds want to fight. They're mad, and I'm like, I cut the switch off. They didn't really have much choice but to run over. We ride on each other.
Hey, don't forget about that race at Livonia. Y'all raced door to door.
Oh yeah, I shared that. And we never did touch during that.
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you give respect to some people, and he's just one of them. Like, I respect him. Like, I respect everybody that pulls beside of me until they give me a reason not to. So, like I said, some of them, you know what you're getting when you pull up beside of them. And in this super deal, like at East Bay, I know one night I was really bad, and I started 10th in a B, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna log laps here and get some. Nah, this cat behind me that was 12th thought that he was gonna drive to second and make this show, and he drives, just throws a slider on me for nothing, and then of course you get pissed off, and I was like, nah, that ain't happening. You know, you got to stand up for yourself against some of these guys. Like Kenny and I at home, or whoever around the house. Like, these guys are every week. We are, we race with the same group of guys too. And the ones that drive respectfully are going to drive respectfully. The other ones, they drive it. They drive their mama dirty. You kind of, like he said, you kind of know who's gonna lean on you, who's not. Like the first name that I started with, Mike Marler. Mike Marler, he's awesome. He's not got to do that, but he's going to get all he can get. He's not going to give you nothing, but he's not going to run you over. And then you'll line up beside somebody else, and they're got great stuff. But you know that you might get an elbow when you get down there. Just be prepared.
That's you asked what one of the more difficult things about super racing. The one thing that I'll say is, like, everybody, especially like at the Lucas and World Outlaw shows, are really like Eldora's going to be this way, so be ready. Like, everybody's full tilt all the time.
Right.
Like, there ain't much slack being cut. Nobody's starting a heat race. Well, I'm going to start 12th. I'm just going to feel it out. Now, Tyler Herb ain't going to feel it out. He's going to blow by you if you live.
Right.
That's just how everybody races. You get with it or you get run over, kind of a thing. Or not really run over, but you'll get pushed around.
That's one thing that, I've done it around the house. You guys have all seen me do it, like kind of hot laps. If I hot lapped around the house, it was just to make sure, but even in hot laps, like Kenny said, there's somebody, actually probably 80% of them, they're like Kenny says, he considers that time to dyno the motor.
Yes, that's right.
And I'm not. I'm just way more conservative. So we'll come in and they'll be like, "Man, you're 16th in hot laps," and I'm like, "All right, that's no big deal. Like, we'll be all right." But in hot laps, as soon as they start bumping the lights, they might split you. Like, they're going. These guys don't play around, and that part of it I got to pick up on, and I can make us better, because you do got to go. When the green's out, you got to be going, and that way you can diagnose your car and tell the guys what we need and stuff better. So, like I said, I've absorbed so much, and it's a lot to take in. It's overwhelming sometimes, but we're getting there, and I got confidence in our race team and the people we have helping us. We'll be fine.
That's right. Now, who's y'all talking about? Which I know you don't see the same crowd all the time, but who's one guy that y'all seen so far since y'all been with Colton racing everywhere? What's one person that, like, they're probably going to be there racing too, and you're like, all right, this is going to be a good race. I'm excited to race them. Not somebody that you're like, you don't like or anything. Just, they're going to race you hard and race you good, other than each other.
Really, all them guys that we travel with, I enjoy racing with most all of them. As far as people that run that Spring Nationals we just run, like anytime you unload and race against that Carson Ferguson and Ross Bales, they're first and second points, and they're there for a reason. That's they're the best. Carson's really impressive because his experience is a lot more limited than, say, Ross's. He's only been super racing a couple of years, but he's racking up top threes and winning every other night, it seems like. They really got their program going. It's fun to race with them. And like me and Ross, we've raced hard and had a little history here and there, but we're buddies. We all hanging out at North Georgia after we pulled in from I-75. And the camaraderie of it, I enjoy that part as much as any of it.
Okay.
Like them two, every night we unload. If you got to run them two guys, you're probably going to be in the front.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Like Kenny said, I mean, once we put our helmets on, they're gonna race you hard. Carson, Ross, those are the two that come right off. But and then afterwards, we're traveling together. You know, I mean, like after Tri County, we stayed at Benji Hicks has been awesome. You know, which he didn't follow the whole deal, but we all rolled into Murphy there and stayed at the casino, and you just get to hang out with them outside of the car, and they got a job to do just like Kenny and I do. You know, I mean, they got race teams, so. But yeah, Carson's awesome. Ross has been awesome.
Of course, Dale.
Yeah, Dale McDowell is just man, like he's a hero. So he's been winning since I was running Super in 2000. He was lapping me, and he's still doing it in 2023. So yeah, you know, he and Shane, you know, they've got a good deal going on, and I mean, he won the 100,000 with everybody in the country there, so he can line up with anybody anywhere. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Now, kind of we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I kind of want to just go back to y'all's backstory a little bit. Who's been y'all's like biggest inspiration when it comes to racing? Like the one person that just has inspired you to be like, yeah, I like racing. I want to do it.
Who's y'all?
Yeah.
My dad, for me, you know, I mean, most everything that I've ever done in racing, I mean, I don't know if it's the right way to put it or not, but not for my dad's approval, but I just always wanted to make my dad proud. You know, we raced together, we put the cars together ourselves. Up until just recently, it's always been that way, probably the last 4 or 5 years. Even if he don't go, you know, he's the first one I hear from when I get out of the car. So it's still that same way. That's the person I always wanted to emulate, be like. He was a winner when he raced and was really good and knew how to be successful. I felt like he tried to instill all of that in me. And yeah, that's for me. That's it.
I just like I said, I got a race with Buck and those guys, so I can't. And obviously, you know, my dad was a huge part of me getting started too. So I'm not taking. And my brother helped me. I tore up more cars when I first started. Like maybe I'm not good at this, you know, and just the paths I was given opportunities that he wasn't, and I was, but just the drivers, you know, Hot Rod's always been awesome to me. You know, it's always, and we got in a spell there. I always said Hot Rod Romance was my hero, and he still is. But we got in a spell there in probably 13, 14 where we couldn't start sides. We were hitting.
Mm.
I had that same.
Yeah, we were hitting, but Hot Rod is still somebody that I look up to, and you know, he's the only person. Jack Pennington was another one that helped me. Tim Hedden. I mean, I have two. I can't just pick one because there's so many people that's been a part of it. And when I start name dropping, I feel like I leave somebody out. But my family's great. Like right now, this deal, I couldn't have done this deal without my wife's approval, and you know, just to make my kids and my wife, my family proud, and have an opportunity to do what I love. You know, like you said, you didn't realize how old I am. Like I got carded.
I swear, I only thought you were like maybe 40.
I appreciate it. But yeah, I got carded.
He keeps himself looking young.
Yeah,
That's right.
I got carded at
brushes just
great. No, yes, I am. And yes, I am very much so. But no, when I was telling you we stayed at the casino there, I went out and got something to eat, and when I come back in, there was a different security worker, and they thought I had a fake ID, and I'm like, man, I got kids old enough to get in this joint. So I had to take my hat off, like they called security over there, and I'm like, dude, like, why would you make an ID to say you're 45? You know, I'm like, this is my real ID, but yeah, just all my family, like I said, she takes up the slack when I'm not home because I'm down here a lot, and just everybody. But there's too many people for me to list, you know.
So, yeah, anybody I've talked to. So, for those of y'all who don't know, when I first started doing these little in-car cameras, David was the first person I ever put one on for. Got lucky. Knew Brian. David was real welcoming. Then he introduced me to Kenny. And so that's how I got to know them. But anytime I talk about either one of y'all at the racetrack, I mean, everybody got the most respect for y'all. Everybody loves y'all. So y'all made a good name around here locally. And
That's good. You hadn't had not one person say that. So
no, not yet.
One person,
Not
one,
yet.
'cause I've made some people mad at some point.
No, I hadn't ran into anybody, which I ain't asked a whole lot of people.
Yeah, I was
but
about to say you have talked about it.
Yeah.
Because they're out there, I promise. Yeah. No, I ain't never said that.
You got a love-hate relationship. All your fans love.
Yeah, and hey, that's one thing about
That's
getting
because he wins. Anybody that wins gets food.
Hey, that's one thing I will say is going out and getting my ass kicked.
Unless you're Bubba Wallace, he just gets food.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like whenever we went to Livonia and we done that little deal for autism awareness and stuff at Livonia, like, and the crowd, I didn't hear a boo, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Like, I'm not used to this. Like, but no, it's just, yeah, I don't know about I'm just David. Like, I'm fortunate. I consider myself very fortunate to be able to do this as long as I have and be successful doing it, because it's hard, man. It's hard at any level, but it's dang sure hard at this level.
I kind of like getting booed sometimes. I mean, honestly, if people will boo you, generally it's because you're winning races.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people that probably just genuinely don't like you, and that they really don't have a reason, honestly, if they don't know you. But like, I had people. I mean, I seen him win 500 races, and you have people all the time go, "Oh, I can't stand that David McCoy." He's the nicest guy I know. Like, one of the nicest people I've ever met. I'm a whole lot more of an asshole than he is. You know what I mean? And people, like, I hear him just like I used to several years ago. He was a fast track race or something, or maybe it was one of them 25 different races you won, that memorial race they have up there.
Yeah.
You won it every year, I think. And we did like driver introductions and walk down the grandstands. And
that's when you made me laugh so long, dude. You started booing way before the crowd.
Yeah, they were like, they did me, and it was like 90-10 on the cheers and boos, and they just booed him. And I'm like, God, that's unmerciful. Like, it wasn't as bad. I went to that cup race in Atlanta a while back, and it didn't sound as bad as Bubba Wallace's. That was the most unmerciful amount of booing I have ever heard. Makes you really have to think about the things you say. Because that's the only reason people do that. Good Lord, that was bad.
I'm kind of going to ask you a little bit, too, about, I don't know the backstory on it. How did you get the nickname Bad Boy?
No idea.
It rhymes.
Yeah, that's because I've never really.
I didn't know if it
I've
came
done
from
nothing
somebody.
on track. No, it was just an announcer. When I was younger, I had earrings, and old Killer over there at Tri-County, he called me the homeboy because I had. Then when we actually the Bad Boy deal, it was before I run the fast track deal, but it's from an announcer, and it just kind of stuck and it rhymed, and
That's pretty cool, Nick.
Yeah, it could be a lot worse, that's for sure. But, yeah, no, I had it in like 03, 04, whenever we were with Slab, like, or out, he was just knee high.
I was, in 03, I was 1.
03, I'd been racing.
I was 3.
Yeah. I was running 4-cylinder.
05. It was around 05.
Is that what year I
Because that's
drove?
when you drove that blue and orange car.
Yeah. Okay. So 6 is when I really remember the
It was like
06, the
6,
Bad Boy stuff.
I started working for Chan Chitwood Concept Graphics in 06, and you were driving the orange car for Slab with the yellow frame.
Yeah.
And me and Adrian went and lettered it one day, and I remember putting the Bad Boy in parentheses.
Yeah.
Put that on the bottom of the door.
Yeah.
David had it all wrote out.
Yeah.
I putting that on at least 06.
So yeah, it's not something that like I said, I liked it, and
It's stuff.
I'm not against it, but yeah, It has nothing to do with me being bad, it's just
Yeah, you can't pick your own nickname. It's like wearing your own shirt.
Right.
It's just frowned upon.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, I can't. I don't really have one. I just have an
The
emphasis.
real rapper.
Yeah.
I like that one. The real rapper.
I'll take that over the Pride of Colbert and
Yeah.
KC and the Sunshine Band and all these others I've been
Well, I
called.
thought you used to have like outside hustler.
But Jason Fager got that.
Yeah.
Got to give him that.
So, how I do want to talk a little bit about, Kenny Collins signs and all that. Like,
The real rap.
that's right. I mean, I know that's how you got your nickname, but how's that business? I mean, how's that helped you in the racing world? Now you've got to introduce probably more drivers and
Tremendously, really. I mean, on a couple different avenues. I mean, it's helped me to know a lot of people just for doing raps for different teams and different drivers over the year. I've been in business for 07, so about 16 years this year. So got in touch with a lot of people I probably never would have talked to otherwise, just from doing decals for them. And another thing, it might sound crazy, but I have traded decals for so many things I needed to race. I've traded, bartered with all kind of different people for shots. Hell, I've worked off money I've owed people for decals, for racing stuff, tires. There's been a bunch of times I go to somebody's shop and put a wrap on their car and see something laying in their junk pile I need. Let's negotiate that in this deal here or something.
Yeah, he smoked the right side up there in North Georgia, and he do somebody 15 minutes, 20 minutes away.
Got
So
to print it for
that printed it off for him, and he was looking. We had him looking good again the next day. So that's awesome. And before this deal ever happened, like obviously, Kenny, he does an awesome job.
oh
Like,
yeah.
not because he's sitting here, but you can tell a Colin Signs race car versus-
From anything.
Yeah,
But no, if you look around here, I mean, everybody's got. Everybody.
He don't.
Well, most people do. Brady's a cheater. You don't. So has he told
You
you?
ain't got to pass tech to get Colin signs.
He has struggled so bad. It's so funny. Poor guy. I mean, he can't pass the heck to save his life. Underslung. Isn't that, or wasn't that what it was? The underslug or whatever?
What?
Every time he wins
you
something
need a
illegal.
damn rule book.
Just study close. You got to watch for them. You just got to stay in the gray area. Them black and white areas. It's got to be.
Well, you know
They're
what he
serious
did?
about them.
He brought a contract with them last.
I did. They wrote a contract. They made a contract that my car was legal.
So,
I had to sign it.
That your car's legal?
Legal.
Okay.
Suspension chassis.
You need to be legal. I have got caught cheating, and it sucks. It's a terrible feeling, and it, to me personally, is. And I haven't in many years, but no, I see a lot of these guys that I think are good, and they think they're good, but, and I'm not. This has nothing to do with you, and I'm not going to name drop, but I have one in particular that I think that he's pretty good, but he's never been able to pass the tech yet. So, and like I said, not you. It's not you.
well, poor guy. That's what I feel bad for him because I mean, he's not. It's not in purposefully that he's doing wrong. It's just to get
To be fair,
Just go back to like what you were saying about David. Everybody boos him because he was fast.
well,
That's
I
basically the same.
was going to say too, like in the kind of class you run too, there's a lot more gray areas where
Absolutely.
But
something can be
it's-
wrong and you not even realize it. Than like per se with the late model car.
Everything, like
Yeah.
y'all said, 10 years ago, how much has late models changed?
Well, like
Everything's changing. Everything's getting better. People
Yeah.
are starting to figure more stuff out.
well, anytime you run like a stock car or whatever, like you run, like I remember when I run four cylinder back a long time ago, we won a race at Winder one time, and his Mustang's got a control arm on the rear, and they got to be a certain length. I don't remember what that length is, but ours were the right length. But somebody had cut and shortened the right rear at some point, and then, and then they had welded it back. It was all correct, but because it had been cut on, we got thrown out. And it was just in the classes like that. There's so many more areas where things are gray. And I got thrown out another time before Sumner because we didn't have a stock drive set.
Wow.
I didn't realize that was a rule before we went, but apparently it was.
There was no Facebook stuff back in 1999.
Last tech to get calling signs.
He has struggled so bad. It's so funny. Poor guy. I mean, he can't pass the heck to save his life. Underslung. Wasn't that what it was? The underslug or whatever?
What?
Every time he wins something.
You need a damn rule book?
Just study close. You gotta watch for them. You just gotta stay in the gray area. Them black and white areas. It's gotta be.
Well, you know
They're
what he
serious
did?
about them.
He brought a contract with them.
I did. They wrote a contract. They made a contract. Take my car legal.
So,
I had to sign it.
That your car's legal?
Legal.
Okay.
Suspension chassis.
You need to be legal. I have got caught cheating, and it sucks. It's a terrible feeling, and it, to me personally, is. And I haven't in many years. But no, I see a lot of these guys that I think are good, and they think they're good, but and I'm not. This has nothing to do with you, and I'm not going to name drop, but I have one in particular that I think that he's pretty good, but he's never been able to pass the tech yet. So, and like I said, I'm not. No, not you. It's not. It's not you.
well, poor guy. That's what I feel bad for him because I mean, he's not. It's not purposefully that he's doing wrong. It's just to get thrown out.
To be fair,
Just go back to like what you were saying about David. Everybody boos him because he was fast.
yeah. Well,
And
I
that's
was
basically the same
I was
thing.
gonna say too, like in the kind of class you run too, there's a lot more gray areas, areas where
Absolutely.
But
something
it's-
can be
it's-
wrong and you not even realize it. Than like
Exactly.
per se with the late model car.
Everything, like
Yeah.
y'all said, 10 years ago, how much has late models changed?
Well, like
Everything's changing. Everything's getting better. People
Yeah.
starting to figure more stuff out.
well, anytime you run like a stock car or whatever, like you run, like I remember when I run four cylinder. When I run four cylinder back a long time ago, we won a race at Winder one time, and his Mustang's got a control arm on the rear, and they got to be a certain length. I don't remember what that length is, but ours were the right length. But somebody had cut and shortened the right rear at some point, and then, and then they had welded it back. It was all correct, but because it had been cut on, we got thrown out. And it was just in the classes like that. There's so many more areas where things are gray. And I got thrown out another time before Sumner because we didn't have a stock drive set.
Wow.
I didn't realize that was a rule before we went, but apparently it was.
There was no Facebook stuff back in
Exactly.
1999, and I come to Tacoma, and I guess it would be hobby now. It was a Camaro, leaf spring Camaro, and so and I ended up winning the race. I swear, Greg Pilgrim was checked out on me, and he like rear end or something. I couldn't see him. So of course I wasn't a local, and that's the way it pretty much works, honestly. Like if you go in the lower division, if you roll into a track and you just put an ass kicking on them, you're going to the tech shed.
Okay.
And so that's what happened. He was going to win the race, and so they told me after the race, they're like, they protested your engine setback and wheelbase, and I was like, all right, that's it. That's all they can look at is the engine setback and wheelbase. And I can't remember who was the promoter or who was the tech man, and they gave me a rule book. And so I get the carburetors, and I'm like, uh-oh, I'm wrong there. And I go back to the tech man, and I said, engine setback and wheelbase. He said, that's all they can look at. I said, they can't add nothing. He said, no, it's 15 minutes or whatever it was is over. So we put a blanket over my carburetor, and we pushed this Camaro in there, and they checked engine setback and wheelbase, and it was legal, but the carburetor was illegal as hell. But after that, I didn't know like it was legal where in Smoky Mountain over in Cherokee where I'd been racing. It's not like I came. It's not like I came to try to cheat them, but you know.
You didn't have Facebook really.
No, there was
Word
you didn't even have a damn cell phone. You know, I'm in '99, so
I guess
That was party line, wasn't it?
yeah.
I guess my best one on getting thrown out was like 2017. I was running late model super mostly, and then I had another car that I had a limited. Actually, I had Paul Byron's limited motor in. Well, I'd been struggling. It didn't matter what we was doing. We were just struggling. I couldn't win limited races. We couldn't line up when we was going super races, and we were running American racers. I thought the tires was a problem, so I said, I'm going to throw me up a set of tires. Okay, so we go to Tacoma, and I still suck. I run about third or fourth, and 3 or 4 weeks goes by. Now, these wasn't the same compound or whatever we was running super with, so my tires just sit. So I was going somewhere else, and it rained it out. I said, I'm going to take my limited car to Tacoma. Same deal. I qualified terrible, and I run third. Well, you won. Drew run second, my cousin, and I run third. Well, the fourth place guy protested all of us. So in the midst of all this, I done kind of forgot that I'd doped these tires. Right? And I had to only build engines. So we had to take our motor apart to the crankshaft. And they had 525s. They got Kenny Lamb come down there and checked them in 15 minutes and called them legal. Yeah. So we done took Paul's motor apart. And about halfway through this process, I remember saying, I'm going to get thrown out on these tires. Because they took a tire sample too. And I was thinking, I done raced them and they've been dirty. And then I washed them like 2 weeks later, but it'll be all right. No, it turns out it wasn't. Yeah, that's the only time. That's what people always claim, when they get thrown out on tires that, the lab's wrong. Yada, yada. They're screwing us.
And I've got thrown out for it too.
And that's the only, I probably had 40 or 50 tire samples taken over the last 10 or 15 years. That's the only time I ever been thrown out. It's the only time I ever had one sent off, and I knew it was wrong when they took it. My experience, they're usually pretty right.
Yeah, I got a funny one on Brian. We had pretty much the same thing. We done a set for qualifying for somewhere that hadn't been checked, which James would, if he would have known that, he would have been really mad at it. So anyway, they had set, and Brian didn't get to go when I was at Traveler's Rest. I can't remember. I just remember I set fast time, and they said, we're taking a left rear tire set. And I'm like, uh-oh, well. So I called Brian. He's like, oh, man, don't worry about it. Like, I'd done those over a month ago. I was like, 10-4, like Kenny said. If the lab says they're wrong, then there's something not. Because those had been had heat, then washed. And and then, of course, you get mad, like, and the only reason you get mad is because you got caught.
Oh, yeah.
I consider it a compliment that we got protested until you're not right. And then you get pissed off about it. And that was one of those deals Wesley English protested us, and we had to take our motor apart up there at Tacoma. It was the night we broke the track record. So that was awesome to me because I wanted to prove that we're doing it the right way. And Wesley actually helped tech the motor, him and JR, and he was one. He's like, it's illegal, and he said it was worth the money to see what kind of heads we were running at that particular time. So, but my point is, most of the time, if you get mad that you get protested, that's a compliment. If you're legal, that's a compliment. These guys are just trying to see where you're beating them and if they're getting outdrove, outcarred, or. So, it's the only way in our sport to keep it honest.
Oh, yeah.
To add to that, just so everybody don't think we're a bunch of tire cheaters from our two stores. Everybody has done that at some point. I don't care who you are. Every racer, probably you included, stand here and lie if they say that they have never done it.
I tried it, but I had thought about
it. You hear him lying over there?
No, but get this. We can groove, sop, and everything on tires. So
you can't dope them.
Yeah, you can't spray nothing on them.
Let's check it. Let's go. If Silver Gray shows up, then I'm in trouble.
No, I do.
You can, no, that won't. But that high.
Hot lap will.
Yeah.
That was on that big can. They're liars. Yeah. it's detected very much so.
I got one question. Where did y'all's number come from? I know you used to be 21C. What happened? Why did you change?
My dad had. Well, I always wanted to be number one, but when I started driving, my dad told me that he wanted me. So I guess it goes back to when Drew's dad Gary started racing. He wanted to be number one. That was Daddy's number, and my dad told him that thought he needed his own identity or whatever, so he needed his own number. That's the same way my dad did me. You know, I wanted to be number one, and he told me that pretty much the same thing. You know, need your own identity or whatnot, and the C on there just come from like 21 was a super popular number, and like we'd go to fast track racing and stuff back in the day, and there might be 5 or 6 21 cars. And half the time they was making me add a duct tape one anyway, so I just put one on there. And then when I think it was between 2012 and 2013, he had pretty much quit driving, just sat here and there. And I don't know, we had a new car, and it was red and white like his word. Like, I don't want to put your number on there. And he gave me his blessing to do it. So went ahead and changed to one. I had run 21, but maybe 2 or 3 times. I did throwback cars. I don't know. I liked the one. It was always his number. And like I said earlier, he's my hero. That's what I always want to be. And the same reason with the C on it, because it's a popular number also.
What about you?
My family number was 74, so that's what I started out with. Man.
I didn't think you started out with it.
Yeah, no, that was my dad's, my mom's, my grandpa's, and then I started out with 74. I run 74 until when I went to Super. And mine's a huge story, but I'm just gonna go with. So the first 2 cars that I got paid to drive was one of them was number 18 and the next one was number 7. So we just put them together. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
But if you listen to rap music back in the 90s, then you hear 187 a lot. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's good. Yeah.
Now, I do want to talk about just Holtman Farms, the team, the people behind it, and to get y'all, everything y'all need. Just kind of tell us a little bit about them and what they mean to y'all.
Oh, a great deal. Brett, like David said earlier, he's given us everything we need to be successful. And if there's something we need that we don't have, he gets it for us. It's truly a blessing to have somebody that can fully fund you with everything you need. And just, he's a great friend and stuff too. But basically, how everything got started was like 5 or 6 years ago, I had sold a car to Dwayne Frady, who's our crew chief. He's the guy in charge of it. He runs everything, make sure everything goes smoothly now. But then he was just, he had bought a car from me that his brother drove, and they was racing at Winder and stuff. And they brought it to me, and I kind of set it up for him and stuff. And he told me that he had mentioned to me, if I wanted to drive sometime, get in touch with him, that Scotty, his brother, just pretty much want to race at Winder and stuff. If I wanted to drive, hit him up. Well, later on that year, come to a point where they was having some kind of deal on Labor Day at Tri-County where they had 604 limited and super, and I was driving. You got a $500 bonus if you could win in 2 different classes, and it was like $1,500 if you could win all 3. Well, the year before, I had won the limited race and led most of the super race, and my motor broke. I was wanting to do it again, and I had a crate car of my own. I was driving a Kenny Harris super car, and I was trying to find the limited car, and I sort of remembered that he had asked me that. Honestly, I think while I was sitting on the toilet, what I needed to do. So I sent Dwayne, I think a Facebook message. I don't even think I had his number saved. And I was like, hey, man, I'd like to run this race Monday at Tri-County. And I got tires. I'll haul it, whatever, if we can make it happen. He said, sure, come by the shop later and we'll work on it. I went over there it was Sunday before Labor Day. And Cole was racing. I went over there and we changed the master cylinder or something. And I was like, got American racers, gotta take it to Cole and shake it down. Well, we went up there and me and him was on the front row and I wound up winning the race first night we drove. Went to Tri-County the next night. I wrecked qualifying, but I actually drove like 11th and we won the race. And then we went to Scriven the next week and I won the race there. So from that on, me and Dwayne just raced together, and so as we go on into the next year, Brett Copeland, the guy that owns all our stuff now, him and Dwayne are neighbors, just by chance, I suppose. They've been friends 10 or 12 years, And just he moved in next door to Dwayne. They become buddies. He had drag cars or a drag car that he raced some, and Dwayne had helped him with it and went some. And then when I started driving, he started going with us. And of course, he liked racing, so just kind of escalated from there. Over 3 or 4 years, and he kept telling me probably sometime in 2021 that he was going to sell out of his part of his company, and when he did, we was going to go racing. Okay, which you have people tell you that all the time. But he's the first one ever told me that it was serious.
Oh yeah.
And sure enough, just 2 or 3 months after that, after he sold out, he bought me a car, and me and Dwayne kind of went racing, just me and him like we had been, and we had some success. We won a race last year. We had opportunity. We broke leading another one, and we led 2 or 3 others. We had a real good year, and that sort of escalated. We added a couple people and went to Eldora and had some success, and that Brett from then on after Eldora last year, Brett really was.
Well, I know you did well at Eldora last year. Where'd you end up?
I didn't make either one of the 100-lap races there at the Dream and me, and of course it was all on the same weekend. But we made both the prelim shows and set fast time one day. It was third the other day qualifying, so we had a really good show. And, it was good for all of us. And anyway, that just sort of propelled us to where we are now. We wound up. He got us a truck and trailer, and then he told me that he wanted to add a second driver. We'd have a teammate, and David was an obvious choice for that. Based on his tons of success, and our friendship, we all know each other. So that led into where we are now. It's just now we got 4 full-time employees, including you over there. Casey Cannon's our tire guy. He does a fantastic job, and Hayden Brabson, he's our crew guy per se. He does a great job. Dwayne, of course, he's one of my best friends. It's always me and him rode home together the other night. It was kind of like the old days of me and him racing.
Right.
We got to talk and stuff, and I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. It's been a good experience for me, for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Brett called me, and like I said, I had to talk with my wife for about. It didn't take her really a lot of convincing. She said, "You got to do it," But just when we went to the special needs school down there in Gwinnett,
That was cool.
that was just to see. That was just awesome. Like to me, like that.
He seems like a selfless guy.
Yeah, and it just. Yeah, that was just awesome. I don't know any words. I think it meant more as much to me as it did to the kids. But just to see that we made their day and having autism awareness on the car and seeing the people that come up to you at the track, that you don't realize how many people that actually affects. Like I've seen it this year. Like I've had parents come up and thank me and want to buy merchandise, which. He just gives their merchandise away. Like he refuses to sell anything, and that's awesome. If you can come get a hat, and like you said, all of our crew, Cason's awesome. Which I'm with him every day, and Hayden just come on. Having a great teammate. Dwayne is awesome to work with. We got Tanya McAllister with NPM. We got some great partners. Bilstein, SRI. We've made some good relationships. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody.
I'm terrible at that stuff too.
Yeah,
everybody that we got a lot of great partners.
But just being able to represent something that's bigger than racing, and touches more people. It's not all about racing all the time. You got to stay grounded and to see the people that he touches. It means a lot to me personally, and I know it means a lot to Tanya and our partners. And like Kenny, we got Randall Chubb Consulting, so we can pick up the phone Randall's never not answered the phone for me. And if we need it and we can plead our case that it's going to make us better racing, he gets it for us, or he will. It's not like that's stupid. He'll get it for us. So I think I'm just glad to be a part of it. Like I said, I probably wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for Kenny, because I got to drive his car and his family on car there. And,
I want to add to that in a minute, but
we had a good showing, and like I said, just everybody that's a part of it is awesome. It's awesome to get to do this for a living, and drive up and down the road, and hopefully we got a couple more good years in us. So
That's right.
I think we're good for 2 years, and then we'll sit down and talk at the end of 2 years and see what's up.
Well, I mean, Brett's deal, it's like he's told me, and he's been very successful with his business and stuff, and been very fortunate. Just like giving me and David opportunities to drive these cars. I mean, it's hard to find. There's probably other people that the general person say, "I won't drive my car," but he's been and the people he helps, like sponsor wise and stuff. Everybody that I've seen him help is people that really needed help.
Oh yeah.
I hadn't really seen him. A lot of times it's sort of like, say, the government, rich get richer, the rich feed on the rich people. And I ain't saying he's rich. I'm just saying that every time I've seen him help somebody, it's been people that genuinely needed help. I mean, just aside from just driving Dwayne's car, like me and Brett developed a friendship over him going to the race with and stuff. And during that period, when I was still racing my own super stuff, I mean, I was struggling that thing every dime. I spent every dime I've ever made racing, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I mean, he give me 2 or 3 amounts of money to help me race that I never had that kind of help from anybody before. And it really elevated my program. I mean, you can look back at 2021, really, when he was first starting to help me with my own stuff. And our results changed like midway through the year. And it was just because he helped me out and I was able to get some better stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then, I mean, he does great for so many people at the racetracks. It's just, it's cool to see somebody that's been fortunate like that want to give back.
I totally agree, and he expects nothing in return.
Right.
He really and truly. I feel like no matter who he helps, he's sincere when he does it, and he's just happy to do it. Like, that's his way of giving back. He doesn't, like Kenny said, he doesn't try to get on the high up car. He's like, well, this guy's, he might could do good with a little bit,
Yeah.
And I wouldn't
That's
hesitate to say that some of the guys would probably be struggling without his help, because you look at our tires are $230 a piece.
Oh, it's
everything has went up with the purse.
Oh yeah.
He helps Livonia, like he added some money to that purse, and
and I see a lot of races he'll add their Pumpkin Farms a sponsored or add money to it.
Yeah.
He just seems like a selfless guy.
He is, and that's just like, sometimes, we're
talking about Duck River.
Yeah.
It has the most boring 53 laps I've ever
It
seen.
really was. Like, I finally found the scoreboard, and I started counting. I seen it at 30 something, and I looked again, and it was 42. And so after 42, I was just like 43, 44. And I only had to make 52 because Dale, he done gone. But, there's no pressure on us to win. Like, I finished 16th, and this man he was just as happy as if he wouldn't have been.
Yeah, he doesn't put a ton of pressure on us. He enjoys being a part of it, I think.
Yeah,
as much as anything else. But I've been blessed with car owners, actually, not to really have to deal with anybody that was just hard to deal with.
Right, me too.
But pretty much everybody I ever drove for was pretty easy going. I do know some people who their car owners are they be mad about you running 5th, and sometimes 5th is a really good night.
Yeah,
But he's not that way. He don't put no pressure on us really.
No.
And it's pretty damn supportive.
That's what I'm saying. Kenny run 9th and I run 16th. He was tickled to death. It was a success for him, and that's awesome, because there's not some people 16th. You may not have a seat.
Oh,
So, and like I said, he's taking some time off here this week. Congratulations to him on the baby thing, and him and Abby. But his seat will be waiting for him whenever he's ready to go again. So, just awesome. That's what he preaches to us: is family first. If I need to go home tomorrow, he's not going to hold it over me that I left. I'll go home to my family. That's the first thing.
That's right.
And that just goes back to what we were talking about, the help that he gives these people, and he doesn't want anything back. Like, I mean, he's just doing it because he feels fortunate to be in the position that he's in and to be able to help other people. And I'm proud to be a part of that.
I'm proud you are a part of it. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
I was going to ask you about the. Now he drove for you once, didn't he?
Right.
That kind of spark.
Yeah, that sort of I think that kind of got your foot in the door, got it going, or whatnot. But what I was going to say about that, just back to I mentioned earlier that the best part about all this racing we do to me is the relationships you build and the camaraderie back and forth between your competitors, because you've all got so much in common. Whether you're polar opposites, whether I'm the cleanest driver ever and the other guy you're racing with is the dirtiest guy ever, we're still all racers. So we got that we all can bond over. And so really, I just want to thank you, really, because you've always, from the time I started, I didn't think that after me and you become friends, I never thought I was nobody. Never have thought highly. My attitude's not like that. I'm not an arrogant person. I ain't going to say I'm going to come in here and kick everybody's ass. I just ain't never been that way. And, but you've always built me up and just, I remember one time you told me, like, this is like 2010, that if you was going to start a team, you'd hire me and Ty Lowe, and I might have won 5 races in the late model car at this point. Hell, this guy want me to drop the car. But anyway, so as we go on, some opportunities would come up. Like one time, I think it was 2015, I had broke all my motors that I had. I was done like Labor Day, and I had nothing to drive. And I made a little post on Facebook, about how we was done for the year and all that stuff. And anybody needed a driver, I'd be open to drive anything. But it's like an hour or two goes by, and David calls me. He says, I think I might have you something. So what was that? So he put me in touch with Paul Byram, who had a rocket car and a limited motor. And this was racing against him now, mind you. Like, put me in this opportunity. And I was fortunate enough to have some great success with Paul. And he didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it added competition to, like I said, we were racing against each other. Oh, yeah. And he helped put me in a car.
Thorn in my side after that, to be honest with you.
Well,
but that makes you better. He's done the same thing for me. Like, anytime I've been sick, he's my go-to. Hey, man, he went to the beach. Hey, this race is playing this. Come get my car.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 times. One time you went to your daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
And you called me, and it was a fast track race at McCoy. You're like, I need you to come drive my car. It was Paul's car, too.
Right.
So we did that. We had a good run. And then I went to the beach one time, and the same deal. I had some kind of fast track race at McCoy, and you and Paul took my car, and y'all run second. Should have won that. And just things like that. That's one of the greatest parts of it to me. So then last year, me and you had talked, and you had talked about, and of course, this is before any of the Copeland stuff, but you had told about. Absolutely. You had told me that you wanted to run another super race or 2 for us. Like, my stuff was just sitting. And I had a fresh motor, and we put a deal together where you was going to drive my car, and it wound up helping him get this opportunity he's got now. So that was something I was really, really glad worked out that way, because he's always been great to me and helped me get opportunities that I probably wouldn't have got otherwise. And I just want you to know I appreciate that, because most people wouldn't do all that. Absolutely. I'm glad that I could help you out, get going, and get in this opportunity.
Like I said, and I appreciate you. And like I said, I was just been so fortunate. I couldn't name the car owners that I've had in, but I feel like you could reach out to any of them and they wouldn't. None of them say anything bad about me. And Paul Byram and I are still great friends. I raced James Foster, that I raced for. I was in his shop 12 years, something like that. Like, we still talk. Chris Woods is huge. On and on, we might not talk about racing, but we still talk. And like I said, Paul and I are just, you build relationships that are beyond racing.
That's probably one of the best things.
Right. Like, actually, Paul woke me up this morning, and he called me, and it's great to see him and Frankie having success, because Frankie he's a hell of a race car driver. So whenever at first, we thought that we were going to do some, and I would be able to hold up my obligation with Paul. And when I wasn't, Frankie was the first name that come to mind, and I've always prided myself off being able to see talent. And like Kenny said, I know he's talented. I know he's going to win a bunch of these. Peyton, He's one of our
absolutely.
teammates, and he's young. You know, we were talking about him. I don't know if it was off or on
It was
there. He's in Clarksville tonight, but you know, he's just awesome. Keith, his dad, has always been super respectful, and I raced with him. And it's stuff that whenever I hang it up for the last time, it's the relationships that you make in between that means a lot to me.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously, you know, Kenny's got more years doing it than I do, you know, man. So I don't know how long we can keep on doing it, or I can, but, you know, I'm going to keep doing it as long as I'm competitive and having fun doing it. And right now we're having a blast. The competitive part's a little, but no, we have shown great speed, but I just want to take a second and thank everybody that's been involved in my career. And like I said, and the friendships that I've carried. And once again, my wife and kids, and you for having us, man. It's fun.
Yeah.
And like I said, I remember that dude like little. I mean, he's actually probably one of the few people that can remember. He can tell you, I've won super races. I promise. Maybe we can do it again. Yeah. We should. I wish you'd have brought one, damn it.
Hey,
I was working. I was in a rush. I think
now,
I won a super late model race.
okay. I hear you.
I actually won
that
seven.
was one I still got.
Yeah, that was 604 car. CJ Ray.
That's Kenny Harris.
Yeah.
I drove for Kenny too. That was a great experience.
Yes.
Enjoyed
He's
them
another
guys a
one
lot.
that was an awesome opportunity for me to go like travel around and just that was, like I said, but I don't think he would say anything negative about me. You know, I've not left anywhere on bad terms, and I'm proud of that as
Oh,
a
yeah.
person.
I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but to me, anybody that thinks enough of me to let me get in their race car, I mean, they've obviously got to think a lot of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, you know, sparked a lot of great I feel the same way. I drove for Paul, Kenny Harris, Daryl Matheson, drove for him some, Cale Garrison. I'm sure I'm leaving out some others, but apologize to them. But I don't think there's anybody I couldn't go back and drive for, or at least still have camaraderie with. I mean,
I probably got one. But
I don't even think I got
won't
one.
do it.
I've been really blessed. Car on.
That's awesome. And before we sign off, I wait 10 years from now, see how y'all's predictions are. So what's one driver for each of y'all that's young that y'all see really has a bright future in dirt track racing?
You want to go first, mate?
You'll probably take my damn pick. But
Well, I'm going to say Peyton.
that's
to
what
start with.
that's what I was going to say.
I mean, from the first time I lined up and raced with him when he was like 15 or 16 years old, I go ahead and tell you he's going to be somebody to beat. He's just aggressive and up on the wheel, and he's super smart, level-headed. You know, I mean, he's already shown at a young age that he can go out on the road and do it against everybody. And I just think that's going to, had a few bumps in the road earlier this year, riding, they got in, it didn't work out. That's a great experience for him, though, you know, I think. And just going to keep building on that. I think he'll be somebody that hangs around in racing for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the same way. Like Peyton and I'll get on the phone and I kind of forget that he's as young as he is. You know, like we'll be talking and he's really mature for his age. And I'm not saying that because I'm coached or because, you know, Coltman Farms. Like I think that he's somebody that you see that can go to a national level and be successful. Do I think it'll happen tomorrow? Maybe not. But he's young. He's really young.
He is, and he's
know?
shown a lot of
And
promise.
he's
I mean,
got-
he's awesome.
You know, it's just like I said, and I mean, I've told Kenny this before. It's just you got to kind of stay as level as you can because you can be here 1 minute and just like, man, I'm quitting. You know, want to just get rid and never see a racetrack. You know what I mean? So and just staying mellow. But that would definitely be my go-to. And I mean, I see a lot of local people that they may never get the opportunity because, like, you know, we discussed. The cost is up, purse is down. Just the world that we're living in is screwed up. But like Brady Cornett, he's young. If the opportunity presents itself, and like I said, when you start doing stuff like that, you leave people out. He's one that's like really impressed me. I've raced door to door with him. And to see the success that he's had in limited just coming out. And I kind of was the same way. I was just older, but I see a lot of potential there, and he's already doing great things.
You know how it is. You can, I mean, obviously we can, I think as drivers been doing it forever. I can watch somebody to watch.
Right.
But then like Brady, which I hadn't got the opportunity to race with Brady much, but the times I have, and Peyton the same way, you race with them and you can just see that they're mature. Even their lack of experience, they're mature driving beyond their experience. And that's those are the kind of people that are going to make it.
Oh, yeah.
I think. With the right opportunities. And I mean, that's a lot to that too. Because you can go broke in a hurry trying to do this.
Absolutely.
And it's as sad as it is, what we do is pretty money driven. And, it ain't like most, say, professional sports. You go watch the NFL game, all the guys playing there are the best guys in the world. That's the only way they make it there. But auto racing ain't really that way.
No.
It's getting, and it used to not be as bad on the level we race, but it's getting worse because everything's getting so much more expensive that it's going to keep. I really hope that there's some kind of cost-effective way to come along in the future. I don't know what it is, whether it's tires or somehow to police engines or cars, to make it where more people can afford to get out and race.
Yeah, that's it's kind of a joke that I have personally, and it's not. It's kind of true. As people, how can I make it? And I'm like, take up golf or something. I'm at that's the best advice. But our sports, the younger generation's got to get more involved and to keep our sport alive. So, I hope people support our local tracks. The best they can. I know when you work 40, 50 hours a week, it's hard to get out and support it, but we got to keep these tracks going. I wish that they could work out a deal where they didn't have 3 tracks in our little area here because, even though I live in North Carolina, I've been in this area as much as North Carolina. Like, this is home to me. So I want to see all the tracks succeed, and we got to keep kids involved and for the next generation coming up.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't want to get on a soapbox about it, but I'll just say my opinion. I don't think there's any excuse for any of these racetracks in this area to ever race against each other. I don't think there's an excuse for them to ever have different rules packages on tires or any of their classes. And I don't think there's any. Like I said, I don't understand some of the things that are done, but they all need to kind of support each other for it to be survivable and keep the area healthy. Because I go ahead and tell you, we've been a bunch of places, and you're probably going to agree with me. Racing's a lot healthier in other parts of the world, other parts of the Southeast anyway, than right here.
But they work together.
And the racetracks work together.
Yeah.
And I ain't saying our racetracks don't work together, but there ain't no reason that Livonia and Toccoa or any racetrack 30 minutes from each other should ever race against each other. You draw from the same point.
Well, I think,
so
it was a holiday weekend, but and Livonia got rained out.
Right.
But if you look, Toccoa had, I think,
we had
119 cars.
120 cars.
And they wouldn't have to race against 2 other races.
Exactly. And lately, the way it's been is one weekend, Toccoa's got 70, 80. Next weekend, Livonia's got 70, 80. And then there's one racetrack that's always suffering because of it.
Oh, yeah, there's got to be.
Look at Hartwell. It's not a thing anymore.
Right. Yeah. And that sucks.
That does suck. Because, like I said, that was one of the tracks that I went when I could. I tried to support everything around, but you can't support them. You can't support all of them if they're on the same night.
It shouldn't be forced to have to pick.
And if I load up with intentions on going to Livonia and say I change my mind, and Toccoa is my favorite racetrack. Period. Point blank. Around Toccoa would be. If I had to say one and they say win or you got to quit, that's where I'm going to take my chances at.
That's your favorite. 100%. And all the ones you've been to, Toccoa's your favorite. It might,
had the
it might
most
be close to
acceptance.
my top 5, but I don't know if I could put Tacoma. No offense to anybody. I don't think I could put Tacoma in my top 5. It's close. It's right up there. You got 5? Can you name 5?
No.
You got to go by the tracks and you know.
No. I'm gonna say, yeah. I love that place. I think it's really technical, and it's hard to get around.
I saw Bloomquist and Richards on their podcast pick their 5 favorite racetracks. I thought we could figure that out. I think that's pretty good.
Tri-County is one of the best racetracks around us. I actually like Phoenix City. I like that joint. That would probably be in my top 5.
What number 1? Go.
Tacoma, 100%. Yeah. And then Tri-County would be 2. I really like that Buckshot place. Yeah, Buckshot would be on there, and I'm probably gonna forget.
Swainsboro ain't on there?
Oh my God, no, that's not top 25 material for me.
A tough time to make it my top.
Matter of fact, if I never had to go back there again, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah,
I mean, those guys that are good there, I admire them because that place is banked the wrong way. And we rode up there, and I'm like, and I actually run good there in like early 2000s, but this isn't the same dang joint. Like it's flat, black. I mean, oh yeah, I'm not knocking. I'm glad the people that can get around there are awesome. I'm not one of them, and I think we got to go back.
Probably.
Yeah.
I qualified good there, but seemed to always hit a U-turn.
What's your top 5?
Well, if I got to pick number 1, I'm gonna say Tri-County. I enjoy racing there, and I've had a good amount of success. Probably my best track as far as ratio against how many times you've been and how many times you run good. East Alabama's in my top 5. I don't know if I could put them in order. Scriven, I think Scriven's one of the most underrated racetracks that I've ever been to.
That,
It races top to bottom. You can use all of it. It's red clay. So I don't think there's no excuse for people saying red clay racetracks don't race good. But it's great. I really like 411. I stink there. I never really have run great there, but it's really hard to drive and real technical. And I really like Boyd. It's sad to see it go. And Livonia will be in my top 5 because it's home.
Livonia would be in my. I was only at 4, and like I said, I mean we're venturing out. These tracks are more technical, and I'm sure that may change, but my number 1 won't change. No matter what. Actually, we're there on a Tuesday, and I got that one circled. Like I expect myself to do good whenever we're there, even though different cars and stuff.
I love Tacoma. I don't think it loves me. Like I would probably put, like I enjoy driving Tacoma as much as any racetrack I've ever been to, but I've never been able to put myself in the right situations there.
Right.
I've always managed to find a way to get inverted back a road, or something dumb happen, or cut the switch off leading, or just never can get qualified in the preferred lane.
Yeah,
like I just ain't never been able to capitalize on the success I should have had there. So
I'm not big on the inverting and all that. That's a different podcast. I don't like that. I think if you qualify
What's
first,
the point of qualifying?
if you qualify first, win the first heat, you should start on the damn pole. Period.
Yep.
I know. You know, man. That's like I said.
Y'all's top 5 tracks. Anything else y'all want to add? Any stories y'all want to tell? Or?
I'd like to just. I've tried to cover all the bases on thanking everybody that helps with the race team and everything. It's super appreciative for all of them and everything they do for us. I'd really like to thank my family. I wouldn't have got it done nearly the racing that I've been able to do without them. And they've made tons of sacrifices, time away from work and spending all the money they ever had, all the money I ever had just to race. And my dad or mom, either one could have stopped and said, "Hey, we don't need to do this anymore." But they wanted to see me succeed. So just I want to thank them for everything they've done for me. My mom, my dad, both sets of my grandparents. It's been invaluable to my racing career. Wouldn't have been able to do nothing without them.
Yeah, I just want to my family also, like I said, my wife, she's like the backbone of her family, my kids. I'm actually looking forward to it. All of my kids are getting to come up to Eldora next week. And I really hate that Kenny's not going to get to go, but like I said, it's a blessing and the reason that he's not getting to go. So, and just want to say thank you. I hope that thank you for what you do. Like, this is awesome to be able to,
Absolutely.
get home and watch races that you've covered. That because although we're not there, a piece of us will always. I think I speak for both of us. A piece of us will always be in this area.
Oh, yeah.
And we look coming up the road. Who won to go? Who won Livonia? Who won Wyoming? So just thank you for what you do. Thanks for having us on, man. It was a blast, and look forward to wish you success in this deal. And
Hoping we can do it again one day. But
anybody get on board, help this man out.
see, if I got in the car, it'd be bad. I mean,
We might could arrange that.
shoot, no, I'm actually building a front wheel drive car right now with my buddy just because we got bored. But he
Never
was like, "You
driven
gonna
one of
race?" He said, "You gonna race?" I said, "Yeah."
Have you ever
I'm gonna be in
drove?
the wall.
You ever drove a front wheel drive?
I was in it. Let me tell you something. I've been in 2 demo derbies, and
I had never done that either.
and like if you win races like in something that's not a demo derby, you don't want people to know that that's you in that car because they hit me hard. But that was one of my fun moments as a demo derby. And Steve Turner Hollywood that I drove for many years, he got us a Nova, and this thing was mint. Like, it was too nice to put out there in a demo derby. And so I'm telling my father-in-law and some other people had built some stuff. This was more like, it was supposed to be an endurance race. I'm like, my dad was actually promoted to go at, and the way that he always done it was he went out and wet the corners so you couldn't go too fast down the straightaway or you. So I'm like giving them all these tips. I've won several races, been very successful. I'm like, don't take yourself out early. Well, me and my wife, we took the green. We go through 1 and 2. It's slick as crap. And we're coming down the dog leg, and we get to 3 and 4, and I just fence. It's like she was screaming. I fence as we come down. I'm like, we didn't even make a damn lap. We're out of it. So I finally got it cranked back up, and we got back going. But that was an awesome memory. Her foot still clicks when she walks from time to time because of that. But I fenced this on the first lap.
You remember that class? They called it cruiser, and they had the driver was in the driver's seat, but the pedals were on the passenger
That
side.
would be awesome.
Would you?
Yeah.
Do you think we could do that without getting in a fight before it was over? Or anything? I want a gas on it though. You can steer it.
Oh hell! Also, don't they do one that where they're like tied together?
Oh yeah,
That
one's
was-
driving and one's
yeah.
got the brakes.
Did you see that Records Code this weekend where the guy got stuck under the guy's rear end, and when he spun out, the guy behind him spun out with him, like in unison, because they were stuck together. They had to get the tracker out. But it was so funny. Guy spun out and got spun out right behind it.
But no, I've never cut a lap in a front wheel drive.
So that was the cheapest class to get started.
I do have us an opportunity to do that if we ever wanted to. This customer of mine, well, actually, he wasn't a customer of mine. Y'all probably know him, Hunter Anthony. He races around here and stuff. And I went to Bristol a couple of years ago to watch. And he went, like, I didn't know him, but he won the front wheel drive part. I was so excited. Yeah, I was so excited. We were hunting. And I was like, yeah. The guy I know has won this race. And then they throwed him out for not having gloves on. I was mad. Like, I wanted to go down there and fight with the officials for it. And then I got on my phone. I was sending a message on Facebook. I said, next time you need some stickers, I'll help you out. I forgot. He didn't forget. He hit me up a couple months ago needing a wrap. He says, that deal still good, from a couple of years ago? Yeah. Well, his dad brought it down there a couple of weeks ago, and I wrapped it. He's like, man, you sure I don't owe you anything? I said, man, I told you that I was going to do it. Next time you need something, I'd cover it. He said, I want to pay you. I said, I tell you what, if there's ever a front wheel drive race I want to run, I want you to have me a car I can drive. He promised me he would. So We got that in our back pocket if we ever want to run front
Well,
wheel
look,
drive.
I'll tell you what. If he gets one, you can use ours. You know,
I mean, the guy racing Scriven every year pays like $25,000. I'm tempted
I
for that.
cannot believe somebody has not been shot yet.
Oh, man.
$25,000.
We were there, and
well, because they'll shoot each other over
yeah,
$2,000.
they had that race. And there was like 125 of these things. They were out there running heat races at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I swear,
Some of them
wild.
are like, like I said,
Well,
they're pretty wicked.
there was
Oh,
there's a bunch this weekend.
I seen they had to run 2 different features, didn't it? Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's good anytime you say that kind of
That's
car.
awesome. That's what I'm saying. But like I said, there was one track. Right?
In the whole even Carolina, everywhere.
No, I don't know why it shouldn't take
Tacoma was smart doing it the Memorial or Sunday, but they got ahead of the curve.
Well, and then again, not at the racing against anybody. Any other racetracks. Wanted to run on Monday. I looked at their race monitor. I looked at race monitor last night, and they had a great car count.
I know that was it looked like their biggest field of limiteds and 602s. You know I was on race monitor, and that 4-cylinder 80 or whatever, like you had to scroll. So I mean, they had a good car count.
Somehow in the hot lap they had every class together. And there was like 75 cars listed. And the first ones were street stocks, and me and Abby was looking at it, and she's scrolling down through it. And she said, "You mean to tell me there's 70 street stocks in Lander?" I said, "Laura, I got to look." I said, "They got something messed up here. They cars and other stuff."
In their defense, they've only been on race monitor like for a couple of weeks,
which is a great thing. Everybody should.
Well, Livonia,
race pass, all that.
Livonia switched to something different, didn't they?
My race pass. It's good too. It's a little confusing to learn, but I love being able to find the lineups. And
you can also go to you can search driver's name. You go and like read up about them. They'll have
like all them spring national races. We had our heat race lineups on there like as soon as we got back from qualifying, so you can look up. Yeah.
Well, I know that's the thing. Like when Livonia would run on Friday and Tacoma run on Saturday, it worked perfect. And I have customers, like people that buy cameras from me, that race at Livonia all the time. But now that I'm doing what I do for Tacoma, now I can't go. And
like I said, I want to be clear. I'm not bashing.
No, me neither.
Oh yeah.
I feel like obviously football around here is huge, so I understand the reason, but it seems like, hey, you take a Friday and I'll do a Saturday. It just seems like, it could be worked around and wouldn't work for everyone.
I don't understand, and there might be people disagree with me on this, but okay, so like this past weekend, you had opportunity for the 3 racetracks within hour and a half of each other here to run on 3 different nights. Do a points thing between the two. Offer bonus money. Even if only 5 people from each class do it all 3 nights, there's probably 4 or 5 or maybe more of them guys that wouldn't have went all 3 races had you not done that.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't take that much more money.
No.
Just a little promoting. I mean, somebody like it. I mean, that's the kind of thing that like Britt might sponsor.
Yeah.
He likes giving back, doing stuff like that. There's things like that. You got to keep the racing community healthy as far as that. I mean, I ain't going to name the tracks, but they was like 3 or 4 years ago, they was going to pay one amount and limited at one track, and then the other track upped them by like $100.
No.
When that stuff just don't need to happen. And things like that only hurts the racing community.
It does. You're a family, you're not trying to go against each other. You're trying to work together.
We all got the same ultimate goals, and that's to do what we love and race and be involved in it forever. And with the escalating costs of everything, there's going to have to be the racetracks, the teams, people that make the rules. Everybody's going to work together to ensure that we're going to be able to do this.
Oh yeah.
I want my kids to be able, when they're adults, to go and enjoy racing if they want to. I don't want local racing to become a thing of the past because of the cost. And they got to work together to keep that right, in my opinion.
Well, if not, it's a trickle down effect. If the tracks start shutting down, they're not going to stay open just to have a big race.
Yeah.
Very few can do that. So it's got to go on a weekly deal to keep it up. Otherwise,
oh yeah.
Hopefully they'll figure something out. World peace.
That's right. That's right. Save the Dolphins.
Well, me and Abby's trying to bring some world peace in, bringing a child into the world
There
this
you
week.
go.
At 7:30 Friday morning. If anybody knows me, knows I don't get up early in the morning.
That's what Kenny said. He said,
They got a scheduled time.
Oh, they're going to induce her. Oh, no, they're not doing a C-section, but they're inducing her Friday morning. And we said this doctor last week.
Can you move that to 11?
And he said, that lady was like, okay, well, we'll schedule something for like 7:30 Friday. And I was like, 7:30 in the evening? That'd be great. And we can work, and then we can get off and go, no, we need to do it in the morning. I'm like, yeah. What, can we come like the night before and stay? Or no, we got that. My Lord, I may fall asleep and forget what happened. But really excited about that. Love Abby. Want to thank her. She's been a trooper. I've witnessing pregnancy. It's not something I would want to do. So just excited about that. Excited to bring my second daughter, will be Leighton Robin Collins, into the world Friday. Hopefully Friday may come before then. For sure going to be Friday, we hope. And pretty pumped about that.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think that's a good place to
Absolutely.
end it on.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate both of y'all for taking the time. I know y'all are real busy. I appreciate y'all for taking the time to come on and just share with everybody, because I think a lot of people want to get to know the drivers behind like just the racing. They really want to get to know them, who they are. And I think y'all did a great job at it. And it was a joy to have y'all on, and I hope we can do it again. Yeah,
I appreciate you having us. It's like I said, like David said, it's awesome the things to see you doing for the racing community around here between the video and then the onboard cameras are awesome. And I mean, like podcasts like this, people listen to stuff like this a lot more than you think they do. Like me and you was talking about before it started. I mean, I listen to Dale Jr. Download at work when I do music.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And just different podcasts. Kyle Armstrong's got an awesome one about racing and racers. I was on another one a few weeks ago, Pitball Podcast. It's great to see folks like y'all give back and kind of give some insight into us as drivers. Because I meet people all the time that are fans and stuff, but they don't know us really.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you don't get to see what people are like outside of just the racetrack. I'm a different person, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's cool to show a little insider info on some of that.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons that, like, because you switch from like the mode that you're in now, and at least I do, and like it's like a switch, and then you switch into race mode. So me and you I might talk to you. Hell, I don't remember what we talked about because I'm in race mode.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people thought that I was an asshole.
Well,
when I got in that mode,
when you're racing, people only see you in the highest of high moments for you and the lowest of low moments for you. The in between moments get washed away because you don't get interviewed when that happens, and you don't win when that happens. But the bad nights they all remember, and the good nights they all remember.
Right.
That's all they ever see.
you're exactly right.
That's right.
We all just people.
Oh, yeah. But I want to thank Mike's Wholesale Flooring again. You're good. For sponsoring the podcast.
He's just picking out some floors for you.
Yeah.
That's right. Come get some of the flooring. But I want to thank him for sponsoring the podcast, and we'll be back next week. Hopefully with Brady Cornett and Hoyt Partain. They had an event come up, so we couldn't get them last week. But we're excited to have them, and y'all just stay tuned.
Brady, I plugged you. Show the hell up.
Yeah. I love Hoyt. He knocks right
Yeah.
panels and spoilers off like I do. He picked one up today.
Yeah.
Happy to say that. I usually always see him with the spoiler drug off of it. That's the kind of racers I like to see.
I ain't never met him. I'm excited to get to know him. I watched him, but I ain't never got a
He's
chance
a
to
wheel
meet
man
him.
also.
Comes from a great family of racers. Been racing a long time. Great people. Same way with Brady. I mean, it's a family thing. The Cornett family's been racing as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
There's always the Pritchett car to me,
Right.
but that's
Blue and white.
Blue and white too.
Yeah.
I wish they'd still do it blue and white with a blue quarter panel. That's what I remember.
Yep.
Forever Butch and who else drove? Did you drive it? You ever drive it?
No, I was going to one time, and I don't remember what happened. I probably wouldn't be in line now to, but
I never drove it either.
no, I was supposed to when it was super, and I
Frankie
think,
drove.
yeah. But no, I never got the opportunity to drive that.
But thank y'all again for coming on, and we'll see y'all next week.
Thank you.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm.